Well, Kyle,
Yes, Garrett?
I have a sinking feeling that some folks that have never tried it before might be interested in Final Fantasy XIV for the first time. So, we've been playing Final Fantasy XIV for almost 3 years. Together. I know you've been playing it longer.
Well, to an extent.
You had no idea what you were doing.
Yeah, I also, it fell off, as many do when they try something new. I tried it all the way back in spring of 2018 after a little bit of BFA burnout. And then I just kind of, there was no need. It was free trial. There was no need. There was no investment. There was no money down. That guy's lost to the wind, by the way. I have no idea who that was. Signed up with some account I do not remember. Made a Ellison, who kind of looked like me, but I don't really remember.
I went Ellison the first time, too.
Yeah, I went to Gridania. I did some Archer quests.
I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure. I can keep myself honest here, and I don't think I deleted my first character.
Oh.
Might have been, I think it was a female here. I think I was like, maybe I'll like this if it's a cute anime girl. Anyway, if you're new here, hi, I'm Garrett, and this is Kyle.
Hi.
We've been playing Final Fantasy XIV for the better part of 3 years together. We barely finished the main story quest, which is a thing we probably put up a glossary definition of right now, just in time for, at the time of recording this, the brand new expansion, Dawn Trail. And, well...
Yeah! Gustav, yeah!
Woo! Holy crap.
We like the game. You may have heard this channel referred to as like the sure as shit channel, like the sure as shit never gonna play Final Fantasy XIV.
I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'm sure as shit not playing Final Fantasy.
That's like, it's become a meme in this community, but it's on a video that like no one gives a fuck about and no one watches.
It's old.
So we should maybe explain.
Maybe explain that moment. Yeah, why did that happen?
What do you remember about that? Because like we live stream. I'm usually on a stream and folks make a joke and I'm like, ha ha ha, I sure as shit am playing. What do you remember? We've heard my side of things a million times. What do you remember about my resistance of Final Fantasy IV?
Oh, I remember Resistance.
I do not like this MMO at all.
Man, so Final Fantasy, Endwalker, media tour, and advertisement was firing up around us. And we were covering general game news, and I was kind of pushing it towards it because I had gotten back into Final Fantasy XIV after 4 years. So I tried it out all by myself. Didn't own a desk at the time, had a desk made of diaper boxes. That's a whole story. The fall of Here's the Storm Esports, don't worry about it.
You had a kid already?
Yeah.
I guess you've been having kids for a while.
Well, my initial try, there was no child. But that was a Gridania Archer, just fell flat.
I did the same thing. I always tend to want to do an Archer first, even though I always inevitably end up tanking because I hate bad tanks. I can't do it.
That's how I feel about healers. Except for mine's different. It's more that I can't stand grumpy healers. I don't like healers with a chip on their shoulder.
I like grumpy healers.
They're so burdened by, it's a video game. Heal me. Find joy in your work.
I only learn when someone's a little mean to me. So.
Yeah, but if you suck, it's more of a challenge for me being a healer. So, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, but I don't learn that way.
I'm not here to teach you.
We were doing a video a week about a gaming news story that we found interesting. I think we called it Nexus Gaming News at the time. We went through like 3 name changes really fast. I don't know what name was what at what time. But from my side of things, in retrospect, I saw it as you being cold and calculated and trying to trick me into playing Final Fantasy XIV. But at the time, it just seemed like you were pitching a story. You were like, hey man, everyone's leaving World of Warcraft and they're going to go play Final Fantasy XIV. We should cover that as a news story. And we did.
It's been interesting admitting the downfall of WoW.
That's an emotional decision, and we can't have a conversation about the downfall of WoW or the transfer over to another MMO without breakup.
I wanted I wanted you to play it. I wanted us to make content about it because it seemed like a lot of fun to cover. There was a lot of energy around at the time. I was being appealed to by Yoshi P. I really liked his candor, his style, his honesty in the game he was producing and running. I wasn't mad at tanks, and I didn't need you to play tank for me. I did legitimately think you would like it. And I knew you were reading a number of books at the time. You were doing like Gideon.
I was reading Gideon the Knight. I was really into the Locked Tomb series at the time, which I need to read the third book. I still haven't read the third book. Really like the first two. Gideon the Knight, probably my favorite book right now. If you ask me what my favorite book is, probably Gideon the Knight.
So you're reading books, so I knew you read.
And I was mad at Shadowlands, mostly because of the story. I don't know, hiding behind here. Can you see that? Can you see it? I got a Sylvanas. That's a Sylvanas statue. It's gifted me by a good friend. I don't usually spend that much money on a statue. One of my favorite characters in fiction. Love Sylvanas. I hate everything they did with her. Yeah, like, makes me really mad when I think about it.
It was flat. Shadowlands was a flat experience for a lot, and there was this huge story to cover. So I wanted us to cover that story, but at the same time, I wanted to sell you on a game where I was starting to enjoy the dungeons. And that's something we had done content on a lot in the past that we really enjoyed making, was making questing videos.
Yeah, I remember it a little like simpler because I don't think I would have cared if you were like, the dungeons, they're good. Because you didn't know you were in Realm Reborn. The dungeons were like mid at best.
But you don't go that far, right? If you sell it too much, you're not going to have a success. So you start real slow.
It depends on who you're selling it to. If you had told me that it would destroy me on the levels of the end of the Hunger Games, that actually probably would have gotten me on board a lot faster. But you just watch isekais, and you haven't seen a human drama made in the last 15 years.
It's okay by me. That's not what I respond to. What I respond to is a world full of people. And that was the crazy thing about it. There were just people. People were just like hanging out. And while I was questing through obviously low stakes, people were just passing overhead on flying mounts. There was reasons for people to participate in an overall world after this very segmented World of Warcraft experience. But the real answer you're looking for is the job of a good manipulator is to only manipulate on the things you care about. Because I tried a lot of things, and I planted a lot of seeds to try to get you to join me. But the one you remember is the one that's most important because that's the one I doubled down on because I started seeing a response.
Which was?
Yoshi P.
Oh. Hey, you miss Chris Metz and Garrett? Yes, I do, Kyle. I know he's back now, but at the time he was still gone for a long time.
Obviously, we're a little careful, like hero worship around here, what we've been through.
Oh,
but...
Jesus, yeah. I'm still like if anything comes out about anyone at Square, I will, I don't know, probably quit video games. Like, I just want to trust the people making my shit, but I don't want to trust them too much.
The rough parts we saw, what we saw in those interviews happening around the release of Endwalker was acknowledgement of room for improvement. And that was leagues above what we were seeing elsewhere.
Yeah, so I mean, it more or less worked for me. Like, I started treating it like a book, although no one even told me to treat it like one, but I was reading a lot at the time. And I was personally getting a graduate degree. Because I was thinking about quitting content creation at the time. And I was trying Elden Ring, which was my first FromSoft game, while working on a master's. And I realized it was really stressing me out. And as much as I was enjoying it, and I did think it was one of the best, if not the best game I had ever played, it was not helping my stress levels. And so I actually went from Elden Ring to Final Fantasy XIV, and I was treating it like a book. I would do an hour to 2 hours a night. And there's just so much reading in the MSQ because at this point I had learned don't skip the story. Unlike when I had tried it once before. I spun up a new character, started in the Limsa zone, which I liked a lot more. It was chill, man. It was chill. I at no point was I telling my friends this story is amazing because I didn't think it was. But I started finding my fun with it. Like I just kind of was taking it like a book. And it worked. And I ended up liking it. And that's the end of the video. 3 years later, we're Final Fantasy XIV content creators.
Bam.
When did you like really find the fun? Because I was just going through the story, didn't love it, didn't hate it, seemed okay. I made it to the first dungeon, which was like what you really wanted me to do. It was like, hey Garrett, I'll run the first dungeon with you. And it was fine. I had an okay time. I was intentionally not tanking because I just wanted it to feel different. So I was doing a summoner because I never played casters. It was just nice to play a MMO with my friend. Because I've been trying to get you to come back to WoW and hang out with me for years. And so I was like, I'll be completely honest. I was like, I'll take it. I thought the dungeons were extremely mid, but it was just fun to have a chill thing to do. Because other than that, we were playing Heroes of the Storm where it was a coin flip and if we were going to have a good time or not. And then for me, like I had another ratchet up. I went from liking to, I would say, loving. And funny enough, it's during what a lot of people cite as their least favorite point of the story, which is the second expansion, Stormblood. I love Stormblood. I might like it more than Heavensward, and I really like Heavensward. It does have a really slow opening. Like if you're getting into Stormblood, folks are going to warn you about the opening. They're right. It like resets like 3 times. There's like 3 beginnings of that. It's like Lord of the Rings in reverse. It's like, has this started yet? And then it starts again. But I got really invested in that. There's a cast of characters in Stormblood that are pretty unique in the overall arc of Final Fantasy XIV. I love the crew in Stormblood. I think it's like for me, it's like the Mass Effect 2 crew. I just love those characters and I miss them. But we did our first extreme boss fight in Stormblood. And it was really hard, but we ended up downing the boss and...
Did we do it?
We did it.
Let's fucking go!
We did it.
GG!
Oh my God.
I mean, at this point in my life, it had been half a decade or more since I was seriously raiding in World of Warcraft. So it had been more than like half a decade since I had a moment like that, and I forgot how important that is to me in a game like this.
It was intimate too. It's 8 players. It's such a smaller experience than raiding in World of Warcraft. With flex raids had become this huge thing, which frankly, let's be serious here. You're going to have a lot of people that aren't that good squeezing in, and it's frustrating. And having that tight group that you are celebrating with, big emotional difference.
Yeah. For me, we raided at different points. I was in Wrath, and I was like almost exclusively doing 10-man. And so this reminded me of that. This was like a real shot in the arm of just like, hey, this is what you love about MMOs. And I was just like, yes,
Karazhan, 100%.
Yeah.
It was that feel. But if you're strategically selling this game, I don't think you jump into World of Warcraft waters and say, hey, guess what? Our rating's good.
I think it depends on the player.
I think you're going to get a lot of counters about like server speed and the snapshot business and all these things that they're going to highlight as their game is better, which some aspects it is.
Oh, I agree. I think the snapshotting is pretty bunk.
Yeah.
In Final Fantasy XIV, but
you get used
when
to
you
it.
get used to it, you can do cool shit like step back into the attack because you know how it works and you look like a badass.
And I would say I saw your investment when you switched to tank because you were willing to get out the good china. You were willing to get... It was, when you're having company over and you're just gonna order pizza.
Yeah.
You're just gonna order pizza because everybody likes pizza, whatever, we're gonna have a good time. But then you have them over a few times and you're like, what, I'm gonna grill. I'm gonna do something real personal and then I'm gonna bake.
But Kyle, you can get a personal pan pizza.
You can, and everyone can have their own, and that's what we were both doing. We were both having our little personal pan pizza. I was doing tanking. Well, it's so different than what I'm used to doing. You were doing some summoning. Ooh, casting is so different. But I knew we had found something special when I was back on healer after how many years, and you were tanking again. And we were in our main roles, willing to give this game our all.
Plus, we were in Heavensward, and I did Dark Knight, and the Dark Knight job quests is one of the best quest lines I've done in this game. And I didn't stream it. It's my biggest shame. It's the one thing I would go back and do differently.
And I love Yu-Gi-Oh! Bullshit. I made a video about it before we were even making videos, just about how much I liked Astrologian.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's sitting there.
I've never seen that
You
video.
can go watch it.
I should react to your Astrologian.
Oh, it's old. It was before you taught me editing. I was just winging it. Mine was way earlier. For me, it's all about environment. It's about that corny-ass phrase, living, breathing world. And I already saw so many people dancing, having a good time, crafting, running around the zones. That was fulfilling me, but there was this little side quest going on with a couple of adventurers, and that was really nice. I started seeing side characters that I was enjoying. I started crafting as I hit certain MSQ level milestones. And I was participating in this world now.
And then we hit Shadowbringers and everything just coalesced because I knew I liked the raid content and we got to what is my favorite story in the game. Shadowbringers is my favorite expansion. I think the story is incredible. I believe Endwalker is your favorite.
Endings are good. I'm motivated by good endings to finish something.
Some endings are good. Good endings are satisfying.
Exactly.
I really like Stormblood, and I really get annoyed by the NPC Stormblood haters. So it's like, it makes me want to put it up pretty high. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's an expectation with a lot of like Final Fantasy XIV style videos to like get really emotional and be like, this is the greatest gaming experience of our lives, which is true. But at the same time, like, to me, it's a higher compliment to say that this has just become my main game. We're finally current, although now we're not again, because at the time of recording this, Dawn Trail is in early access. So there's people who have probably already finished it.
Absolutely.
And know what lies ahead of us. We haven't started playing the Dawn Trail MSQ yet. That's coming soon. So if this is your first time watching us and you think we're vaguely entertaining enough, subscribe, because we stream right here on YouTube, on this YouTube channel. And we have the Clips channel if you want to see like our stream escapades in more bite-sized chunks. Like, yeah, I think it's a higher compliment to say that it's just my main game. Like, the story's great, and we've been to FanFest now. We got invited to Media Tour, all these crazy things that have happened to us personally. But everyone is thinking about getting into this game. Like, that's not, is that important to you? I don't think that's important to you. I don't think, are you thinking about getting into content creation? Like, maybe, yeah, cool. It's really sweet to like go to FanFest and get invited to the Media Tour and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I thought I was done with MMOs, and I'm really glad I'm not.
It's good to be a part of something.
It's made me really enjoy a lot of different games again. I beat Final Fantasy I while you were out welcoming your new child into the world, and I had a great time, and that reminded me of my love for Pokemon, because I didn't grow up with RPGs except for Pokemon. That was it. And that was nice and cozy, and it was so cool to see what was taken out of that and applied into Final Fantasy XIV. It's made me like World of Warcraft again.
It's almost like you had a healthy gaming experience, and it made you treat your other games with more healthy habits.
Yeah, now I'm playing them knowing what I want to get out of it, and that's why I'm seeking that out. And so I'm not coming to games and wanting them to be something that they aren't. I'm meeting right now the games that I'm playing, I'm meeting them on their playing field. And I wish that upon many people who call gaming their hobby of choice. It's a peaceful life.
And we wish it upon you. So that's the cheesy part, but play Final Fantasy. You should play Final Fantasy.
You should play Final Fantasy.
You should play Final Fantasy.
It's a good game.
The 14 one. I don't know enough about other ones. 16's pretty good, but that's not MMO.
I had a really good time with one. The Pixel Remaster is pretty dope. I would recommend it.
Play Final Fantasy 14.
I really want to play 8.
I've heard 8. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's recommended
It's
a lot.
really high on my list.
Yeah, there's a lot about 4 too.
4, 9 apparently.
Yeah,
has
people
a lot of
just want to
references
play
in Dawn
that.
Trail.
This is where we just like fade out to black, like it's the end of a.
Yeah.
And we
Of course,
we're doing
7.
that.
I can't believe I've gone this far in my life without 7.
I know, right?
Yeah, but like, I'm not an awkward teenager trying to get a girl to like me, so I'm not
True.
sure 7's going to land as much for me. Like I never had a girlfriend stabbed.
What?